All right, welcome to Talkin' Investing. I'm Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I want to do our daily Bitcoin and Bitcoin miner update. If you're new to the channel, please remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell, and also if everybody could smash the like button. And lastly, if you want to support the channel, you can hit the join button on the YouTube page. It's right next to the subscribe button. Membership's only $5, and we do a once-a-week members-only live stream. In addition to that, members get some extra content. Members get to pick a stock once a week for me to do a deep dive video on. Bitcoin has been incredibly stable in the month of December, and it may not feel that way, but when we get to the charts, I think you're going to see Bitcoin is almost absolutely sideways in the month of December. However, the Bitcoin miners have a mind of their own right now, and it is absolute chaos. Okay, so you can see there was more red than green today. Bitcoin was down a little bit from the close of the market today to the close of the market yesterday, so a little bit of red was to be expected, but obviously we have to start out talking about Core Scientific. Core Scientific finished the day down at 5 cents, down 75% on the day today. Now, I am going to dig a little deeper into that because I'm not sure that's the right number, and this is the third or fourth time this has happened in the last week as well. So bear with me for a minute and I will get back to that. I think Core Scientific was down 60% on the day today, but maybe one of you can drop in the comments after you see what I'm talking about and let me know what's going on. Okay, so beyond that, there were some other companies that did not have a good day. Marathon was down 6.65%. They're now at their 2-year low. Marathon is now trading, even from a stock price point, less than Riot is. Riot's market cap has obviously passed Marathon several weeks ago, and the discrepancy just keeps getting larger and larger. So I am not sure what's happening, but Marathon is definitely taking the brunt of it. Their stock is down drastically. We did have one miner today that had a good day. For whatever reason, CleanSpark was up 9.42%. Now, they did have a press release today. They passed 6 exahash on the year. That was their revised goal. They keep revising it up. So they did get there. They got there before December 31st, and I think the market received that well. Even CleanSpark's within 15 or 20 cents of its all-time low. Meanwhile, GREE was down 7%, so they're very near their all-time low. Iris Energy was down 4%. Bit Digital, Stronghold, and Wolf were a little bit in the green, so all a little bit lower volume there across the board. So really the two companies that put out a press release today, one had a very negative day. CleanSpark, which was the other, had a very positive day. Everybody else was fairly neutral on the day today. But again, all of these Bitcoin miners are either at or very near their 52-week low, 2-year low, or all-time low in many instances. A lot of these are now micro-cap stocks. There's a half a dozen of these that are, less than $20 million market caps. So while all that's going on with the Bitcoin miners, I want to go over and take a look at Bitcoin for a minute, because Bitcoin has not been crazy in the month of December. It's actually, in my opinion, it's been fairly steady. Now, we're struggling with a line of support/resistance right now, but let's go take a look at that. Okay, so you can see, as always, there's an orange line, and this is where Bitcoin was when the equity markets closed in the US yesterday. So Bitcoin was at 16,859. So that is just a little bit under my blue line at 16,875. That has been the line that Bitcoin has been fighting. And for all of you who are doing your own technical analysis, your line may be a few dollars above that or below it. It's not important. Somewhere in that neighborhood, you will see Bitcoin has been having a gigantic fight. So this is on the 15-minute time frame. So we're just looking at today's activity. But you can see we did get above that a little bit today and then back below. We bounced into it many, many times today. We candle wicked above it one time, but really this held as resistance today. And when we go to the larger time frames, you're going to see for the rest of December, this was actually support. So it looks like we've flipped, but it's still too close to call because the technical indicators are just super neutral right now. And so I've been calling for a rally all year. So this is probably the last day I'll even mention it, because at this point, we are deep into the fourth quarter. We're past the middle of December. So if there was going to be a rally, in my opinion, I expected that we would have had it already. Okay, so if I zoom out on the 4-hour time frame, you're going to see a little bit better of a picture here. Here's the blue line we talked about at $16,875. This was November 30th. So you can see for the first part of December, all the way here through until December 16th, this held very strong as support. It got a little bit below this for a while and then popped back up. So This was a line of support consistently for about 16 days. It feels like it's starting to bump up against this line and turn into resistance. So again, I'm not even going to make a call. I'm going to go to the one-day time frame and show you why actually just the month of December has pretty much been a wash for Bitcoin. Okay, so here we are on a broader time frame. You can see that Bitcoin bottomed out on November 9th. It flash crashed with the FTX situation on November 8th and November 9th. Bitcoin flash crashed all the way down to about $15,500. It quickly recovered back up around the $17,000 range. It did go back a week later, actually 2 weeks later, on Monday the 21st, and retest this 15,500. We've been comfortably above this ever since. Like I said, on November 30th, we did settle in around 16,875. Most of these daily candles are trading within, just a 2 or 3 or 4% of each other. So, we can't really say that Bitcoin has made a move at all here in December. I think it's deciding which way to go. Are we going to recover from this FTX situation, get back to some business as usual, and maybe get a little bit of a relief rally? Actually, really, as I look at the technicals, it looks a little bit to me more like we are going to retest our lows, and maybe we need to go bounce off this purple line at around 15,500 one more time before we turn around. In the meantime, a lot of these Bitcoin miners at $16,000 or $17,000, they are running out of liquidity. So the longer this lasts, the higher the probability that some of these companies have to do what Core Scientific had to do today, which was voluntarily file Chapter 11 bankruptcy and try and do a reorganization where they can come out the other end. The problem with that is it's actually very bad for all the rest of the Bitcoin miners. Core Scientific is by far the biggest miner. They have about 14 exahash that's running. They're mining about 50 Bitcoin a day. So by going into Chapter 11 reorganization, this gives them a reprieve, essentially. They get to run their full operations for the next 90 days, basically unencumbered by their debt and their interest. So that is going to keep the worldwide exahash rate up. That's going to keep the difficulty level up. And there's a company that's already illiquid. So I have a list of 6 Bitcoin miners that I think could potentially fairly imminently run into a liquidity problem. Core Scientific was number 1 on that list, and it is now the first one that has filed for bankruptcy. Gree was number 2 on that list. They did a major reorganization yesterday of their debt. They gave back the bulk of their Bitcoin mining machines to their lender. So I'm watching that list of 6. The longer we go sideways or down, the more likely it is that 4 or 5 or 6 of those are all going to run into a situation where they run out of liquidity and they have to file for bankruptcy. In a lot of cases, maybe a Chapter 11 reorganization. Sometimes they may just be done. So just so everybody knows, I'm going to revisit this list. This is the list of 6 that I'm talking about. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, Core Scientific, Gree, Wolf, and Argo Blockchain I think are really in some imminent trouble. So that doesn't mean they're going out of business. And again, please, this is not financial advice. But number 5 and number 6, Stronghold and Mawson, I think are in a little bit better shape because they have already done massive reorganizations of how their businesses work. They've restructured a lot of their debt. In both of their cases, they've sold or given back a lot of their machines to their debtors. So they bought themselves a little more time, which is why they're 5 and 6 on this list. But these 6 companies I'm keeping my eye on. If we end up in a 2 or 3 or 4 month sideways situation here with Bitcoin in the $16,000, $17,000 range, I'm not sure any of these 6 are going to make it out of that. I do have a list of 6 more past that where if we get into a 6 months or a year of a bear market from here, I think there's 6 more that are in trouble. So I may do a video on that later this week. At the beginning of the video, I said Core Scientific was down 75%, but I think really it might be 60%, and I'll tell you why. If this says they closed at 8.27 cents, so the other chart said 8.26%. So I can live with a 1/100th of a cent variance. That makes sense to me, but now you'll see at 4 o'clock, it says that this opens at 0.51 cents and closes at 0.51 cents, but it does so on 0 volume, and at 4 o'clock, the market's closed. So I'm not sure if there's some settling out process and people are making massive end of the day moves in the last 1 or 2 or 3 minutes of the day that are taking a bit to settle out. They seem to correct themselves the very next day, so we'll have to see what happens in this instance. I just wanted to point out, there is a possibility that this stock is at more like at 8 cents, not 5 cents. Either way, they did file for bankruptcy today. So I'm just going to finish up on the 15-minute time frame, and you'll see we're still struggling. We're actually, over the last few hours, we seem to be moving further and further away from this line of potential resistance. So unless we can get back above this line, I think the chances are we're more likely to go retest our lows at 15.5 between now and the end of the year. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. I will definitely update this tomorrow and get back to you if there's any big movements. So thanks so much for watching. Remember to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell and smash the like button. Also, if you're interested, remember to join the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you again in the next video.